Hello, my dear friend. Welcome to VUS Learning English podcast. My name is Anna, and I am so happy you are here with me today. Today, we are going to talk about something very important. We are going to talk about speaking English. Maybe you feel a little stuck. Maybe you know many English words, but speaking feels difficult. Today, we will talk about why this happens, and we will talk about how to fix it. We will learn about two different ways to learn a language. One way is the old way, the school way. The other way is a new way, a special way. We will see how they can work together to help you speak English with confidence. Thank you so much for choosing to be here today. Your time is a gift, and I am so grateful to share this time with you. If you enjoy our time together, please think about subscribing or giving this a like. When you do this, you help our podcast grow. You help other learners just like you find our little community. It is a small click for you, but it means the world to us. I'm always curious about where you are listening from. Are you in a big city or a quiet town? Are you listening from the United States or Brazil or India or somewhere else in our beautiful world? Please tell me in the comments. I love to see where all my friends are. Okay. Are you ready? Let's begin our journey for today. I want you to imagine something. Let me guess how you feel sometimes. Maybe you study English very hard. You have learned hundreds of words, maybe even thousands of words, 1,000 words, 2,000 words. Wow, that is a lot of words. You study grammar rules for hours and hours. You have a textbook, and you have read it many times. The pages are old and soft now. Maybe you use a flashcard app on your phone, an app like Anki or Quizlet. And every day the app says, "Good job." You feel happy. You are learning so much. But then something happens. Someone asks you a simple question in English. Maybe they say, "Hello, how was your day?" And what happens? You freeze. Your mind feels empty, totally blank. All those words you learned are gone. All those grammar rules are hiding. All those hours you studied feel useless. You cannot say one simple sentence. You cannot speak with confidence. This feeling is so sad. It is a heavy feeling. It is like you are a chef. A chef is a person who cooks food. Imagine you are a chef who has memorized every recipe in the world. You know how to make every food. You have read all the books, but you have never cooked a meal. Knowing about cooking is not the same as cooking. Knowing about English is not the same as speaking English. If this story feels true for you, if this feeling is your feeling, then you are in the right place. You are not alone. So many learners feel this way. And today we are going to understand why. And we are going to fix it. For a very long time, the way to learn a new language was always the same. It was a path made of heavy books and long grammar papers and endless lists of new words. This is the traditional method. This is the school way. It is what they teach in most schools. And this way comes with a promise. The promise is, if you learn enough about the language, if you learn enough grammar and words, one day you will be able to speak it. This sounds logical. It sounds like a good plan. It is very structured. You finish chapter 1, then chapter 2, then chapter 3. But for millions of people, this path is a dead end. It does not lead to speaking. That sad feeling of knowing a language in your head, but not being able to get it out of your mouth. That is a huge secret problem for many learners. But what if there is a better way? What if there is another way? A method that is not about memorizing rules, a method that is about building a new skill, like learning to dance or learning to swim. This technique is so simple, it sounds almost too easy, but it is what professional interpreters use. Interpreters are people who translate speech very fast. And polyglots use it too. Polyglots are people who speak many, many languages. In this episode, we will look at two powerful methods: old school traditional study and the simple but amazing shadowing technique. We are going to look at both ways, piece by piece, very slowly, very carefully. We will understand why one way builds a library of facts, and the other way builds the real skill of speaking. This is not just another podcast with a few quick tips. No, this is a deep look at why you feel stuck and how you can get unstuck forever. By the end of our time together, you will understand the difference between these two ways, and you will have a clear, simple plan, a plan to find the right mix for you, the perfect key to unlock your speaking, the key to find the fluency you want so much. Let's start with the first method, the traditional way, the school way. Let's call it the architect. An architect is a person who designs a building. They draw the plan for the house. Before we say this way is not perfect, we have to give it respect. The architect's job is very important. It draws the blueprint for your new language. A blueprint is the map to build something. This way lays the foundation. The foundation is the strong base of a house. It builds the grammar structures, like the walls and the roof, and it fills the house with many things. That is your vocabulary, your words. This is very important, especially when you are just beginning to learn. When you know zero English, you need a map. You need the architect. So what is traditional study, really? It is a big idea, but it has a few main parts, a few pillars. First, there is textbook learning. This is the classic way. Books have chapters about different topics: greetings, family, food, travel. Each chapter gives you new words and a new grammar idea. You learn about verb conjugations like I go, you go, he goes. You learn about sentence structure, the order of words in a sentence. This approach is very logical, and it gives you a clear feeling of progress. You finish a chapter, and you feel good. You are moving forward. The good thing is clear. It gives you a solid understanding of how the language is built. You learn the why behind the rules. This is explicit knowledge. The second part is grammar drills. You know these exercises. Fill in the blank. The cat blank on the mat. You write is, or sentence rewrites. The goal of these drills is to burn the rules into your memory, to make them automatic. You do it again and again and again through pure repetition. It is like playing scales on a piano again and again. The idea is that if you practice a grammar rule enough, You will not need to think about it in a real conversation. This is the theory. The third part is memorizing vocabulary. This is maybe the most common activity for language learners. We use flashcards, paper flashcards or digital flashcards on our phones. We make long lists of words and we try to remember them. The goal is just to know more words, more and more. The idea is, if I know more words, I can express myself better, right? Some people learn the most frequent words first. For example, learning the top 1,000 words in a language. This can help you understand up to 90% of a normal conversation. 90%. That is a lot. It is a very smart way to start. It gives you a powerful toolkit. And finally, there is the formal classroom. A classroom is where a teacher brings all these things together. The textbook, the drills, the vocabulary. A good teacher can explain things that are difficult. A teacher can correct your mistakes in writing. And they give you a safe place to learn. For many people, school classes are the only way they learn a new language, and these classes are very good for one thing. They help you pass tests. Tests about grammar and vocabulary. So, what is the big promise of the architect? Of the school way? It promises that if you collect enough pieces, enough grammar rules, and enough words, you will eventually have a whole language in your head. It treats language like a math problem. If you learn the formulas, you can solve the problem. This way builds something called declarative knowledge. That is a fancy term. It just means knowing what. You know that apple is a fruit. You know that you add S for plural nouns, like 1 apple, 2 apples. This knowledge is important. It is essential. It is the raw material. It is the wooden bricks for your house. Without it, you have nothing to build with. But this is exactly where we find the big problem, the big sad failure of the traditional method. When you use it alone, only this method. This is the reason you can get 100% on your grammar test. But you cannot order a coffee without feeling fear, without your heart beating fast. The traditional method is wonderful at building your internal library of facts. But it is terrible at teaching you how to use that library. Especially not in real time. Not in a fast, real conversation. Think about it like this. Let's go back to the car idea. You could spend years studying cars. You could learn about every single part. The engine, the wheels, the transmission. You might be able to draw a perfect picture of an engine from memory. You are a car expert. But does any of that mean you know how to drive? Can you drive on a busy highway? Can you park the car? Can you handle a busy street during rush hour? Of course not, because studying driving is not driving. Driving is a skill. It is not a pile of facts. It is a procedural skill. That is another fancy term. It just means knowing how. You learn a skill by doing it. You learn to drive by driving. You feel the car. You learn to judge the distance between cars. You develop a feeling, an intuition for the flow of traffic. Speaking a language is the exact same thing. It is not a knowledge problem. It is a skill problem. Speaking is a procedural skill. It is also a motor skill, a physical skill. It uses your brain, yes, but it also uses your mouth, your tongue, your breath, and the muscle memory you need to make new sounds, to make foreign sounds in a smooth, natural way. The core problem with traditional study is that it is almost all theory. It is all in your head. It creates a huge gap, a big empty space between what you know and what you can do. This is the knowing-doing gap. You are so busy thinking about the language, analyzing it, breaking it into small pieces, that you never practice the single, whole act of speaking. The school way teaches you to build sentences consciously, piece by piece, like a difficult Lego set. You think, okay, first I need the subject, then the verb. Oh, wait, I need the object. Is this word masculine or feminine? By the time you build your perfect, correct sentence, the conversation is gone. The person you are talking to is already thinking about something else. Real conversations are fast. They are messy. They are not predictable. They are not like the exercises in a textbook. There is no time to stop and think about grammar. There is no time to look up a word. Fluency is not about building sentences slowly. Fluency is about retrieving them quickly. It is about letting groups of words just roll off your tongue without thinking. Traditional methods often build the opposite of this. They focus so much on being correct from the first day. This builds hesitation. This builds a fear of making mistakes. This fear can stop you from speaking at all. This is how you get students who can write beautiful essays in English, perfect grammar, amazing vocabulary, but they can barely speak two words together. So the architect, the school way, it has many good points. It leaves you with a beautiful big house full of wonderful furniture, but you do not know how to live in it. It gives you the car, but not the keys. It gives you the ingredients, but does not teach you how to cook. You have the knowledge, but you do not have the skill. This is the sad feeling you have. This is the reason you feel stuck. It is not because you are bad at languages. No, please hear me. You are not bad at languages. It is because you have been sold a blueprint and told it was a car. You have the knowledge part. Now you need to build the skill part. And to build that skill, we need a totally different approach. We need to meet the trainer. If traditional study is the architect of your language knowledge, then shadowing is the trainer. A trainer is someone who helps you practice. A sports trainer. They help you get strong. They help you get better at a physical activity. The trainer does not care about blueprints. It does not care about grammar rules. The trainer has only one goal: to get you in the game, to get you speaking. Shadowing is a physical, intuitive, and very, very good way to turn your passive knowledge, the words in your head, into an active, usable skill, the words that come out of your mouth. At its heart, shadowing is very, very simple. It is almost silly. You listen to a native speaker and you repeat what they say. As you hear it, you become their shadow. That is it. That is the whole technique. No grammar books, no translating in your head, no analyzing sentences. You just listen and you speak. This might sound strange. It might even sound useless. How can you learn by just repeating sounds? Maybe you don't even understand the words. This is where we have to change our idea of learning to speak. Speaking is not just a mental game, it is a physical one. It means training the muscles in your mouth, your tongue, your jaw, training them to move in new ways. It means learning the unique rhythm, the melody, the intonation, the music of a language. This is exactly what shadowing trains. It bypasses your thinking brain. It goes past the part of your brain that analyzes everything, and it works directly on the physical and automatic parts of speech. Let's break down exactly what shadowing is and how to do it, because there are different levels to this practice. First, let's be clear about the definition. What is shadowing? Shadowing is listening to audio in your target language, in English, for example, and speaking it out loud at the same time. At the very same time. You try to match the native speaker perfectly. Their pronunciation, their rhythm, their intonation, which is the up and down music of the voice. You want the delay to be very small. The time between hearing a word and speaking, it should be tiny. You are not listening to a whole sentence and then pausing and then repeating. No, you are speaking with the recording, just one or two syllables behind. It is almost at the same time. So how do you actually do this? Here's a simple step-by-step guide. Let's learn together. Let's call the first level. Step 1, shadowing with training wheels. Training wheels are the extra wheels on a child's bicycle. They help you learn without falling. If you are new to shadowing, please start here. You need 2 things. First, an audio recording of a native speaker. Second, a full transcript of what they are saying. A transcript is the text, the words written down. Number 1, choose your material. Start with something short and clear. A beginner podcast is perfect, like this one. Or a short conversation from a textbook. Or even a story for a child. The important thing is that the speaker is not too fast, and the audio quality is very good and clear. Number 2, first, just listen and read. Before you try to speak, just listen to the audio 1 or 2 times and read along with the transcript. Follow the words with your eyes as you listen. Get a feeling for the speaker's voice. Number 3, now read aloud. Put the audio away for a moment. Just read the transcript out loud by yourself. This helps you find any words that are difficult for you. It warms up your mouth. Your mouth is getting ready to speak English. Number 4, it is time to shadow. Okay, now play the audio and try to speak along while you read the script. Do not worry about being perfect. Please do not worry. Just try to keep up with the speaker. It will feel awkward. It will feel strange. You will stumble on words. You will make mistakes. Maybe you will just be mumbling some sounds. That is all completely normal. It is part of the process. The goal is just to get your mouth moving in sync with the native speaker. Focus on the flow, the music of the language. Where do they pause? Which words are loud? Which words are soft? Number 5, repeat. Do this with the same short piece of audio, maybe 30 seconds long or 1 minute long. Do it over and over again. Repeat it 10 times, or 15 times, or 20 times. With every repetition, you will feel your mouth getting more comfortable. It will become easier to keep the pace. You are building muscle memory. Your mouth is learning how to speak English. Now for the next level. Step 2, pure shadowing. This is with the training wheels off. Once you feel good with the script, it is time to take the script away. This is where the real magic happens, because it forces you to rely completely on your ears. First, use audio you already know. Use the same audio clips you practiced with the script. You already know what the speaker is saying, so your brain is not trying to understand the meaning and speak at the same time. It can focus on just one thing, speaking. Next, focus only on the sounds without a script to read. Your brain has to pay very close attention to the real sounds of the language. You will start to hear things you never noticed before. The small difference between two vowel sounds, the way one word connects to the next word, these are the secrets of natural flowing speech. And please embrace the mumble. To mumble is to speak not very clearly. You will miss words. It is impossible to say every word perfectly. Sometimes you might just be mumbling, making sounds that follow the melody of the sentence. This is not only okay, it is a wonderful part of the process. You are still learning. You are absorbing the rhythm and the intonation, the music of the language. This is something the traditional school way almost completely ignores. And now, the final level. Step 3, real-world shadowing. This is like joining the race. This is the advanced level. You take your shadowing skill and use it with any material. First, choose content that is interesting for you. Shadow podcasts you like. Shadow YouTube videos you enjoy. Shadow audiobooks you love. The key is to pick something you find interesting. This makes the practice fun. And if it is fun, you will want to do it every day. Here is another tip. One of the most famous supporters of shadowing is a polyglot named Alexander Arguel. He recommends walking quickly outdoors while you shadow. He says the physical activity, the walking, gets more blood to your brain. It improves your focus. And it helps you remember that speaking a language is a physical act. It is a full body experience. So why does this strange technique work so well? It seems too simple, but it fixes almost every single problem that the traditional method creates. Let's talk about the good things, the benefits. Benefit number 1, it dramatically improves your pronunciation. This is the first thing you will notice. Traditional methods teach you pronunciation with pictures, diagrams of your mouth and tongue. This is useful information. But shadowing teaches it through direct imitation, by copying. You are not just learning single sounds. You are learning the entire sound system of English. The rhythm, the stress, the intonation. You are learning its music. Many studies show this is true. Learners who shadow see huge improvements in their pronunciation. They sound much more natural. You are literally training your mouth to move like a native speaker's mouth. Benefit number 2, it builds automatic fluent speech. Remember the knowing-doing gap? The space between what you know and what you can do? Shadowing destroys that gap. It forces your brain to connect input, what you hear, with output, what you say, at the same time. This builds and strengthens the connections in your brain, the neural pathways you need for automatic speech. Over time, you stop thinking so hard to speak. You stop building sentences piece by piece. You start delivering them as whole chunks, just like you do in your native language. Shadowing takes language out of the thinking part of your brain and moves it into the doing part of your brain. Benefit number 3, it makes your listening skills amazing. You might think shadowing is only about speaking, but it is one of the best listening exercises you can do. To shadow well, you have to listen with incredible attention to every single sound. This makes your ears sharper. It trains your ears. You learn to understand fast connected speech. You start to catch all the little things that make native speakers hard to understand. Your listening becomes super-powered. Benefit number 4, it builds massive confidence. This might be the most important benefit of all. One of the biggest problems for learners is the fear of speaking, the fear of making a mistake. Shadowing gives you a safe, private way to practice speaking. You can practice for hours with zero judgment. No one is listening. No one will laugh. You are safe. You get used to the sound of English coming out of your own mouth. This is a huge, huge confidence boost. So when it is time for a real conversation, speaking does not feel scary anymore. It does not feel strange. It feels familiar because you have done it thousands of times by yourself. The trainer, this shadowing technique, does not replace knowledge. You still need to know what words mean. You still need the bricks and wood from the architect. But shadowing is the missing piece of the puzzle. It is the physical training that turns your knowledge into a real-world skill. It trains your mouth, not just your mind. It teaches you how to drive the beautiful car that the architect so carefully built for you. Okay, we have met our 2 methods. In one corner, the architect, the careful and respected traditional study method, the school way. In the other corner, the trainer, the strong and active shadowing technique, the practice way. So, which one is better? When you are an absolute beginner, when you know zero English, where should you start? In the very beginning, the traditional method is very helpful. When you are a true beginner, you need a map. You need to learn basic words like hello and thank you. You need to learn simple grammar. You need to learn the alphabet. Textbooks and apps are perfect for this first structured learning. Trying to shadow a language you have no experience with is just too hard. It will only make you feel bad. But the mistake most people make is waiting too long. They wait too long to bring in the trainer. Even in the first few weeks, once you know a few basic phrases, you should start shadowing. Start with step 1. Shadowing with training wheels. Shadowing. Hello, how are you? Helps you build good pronunciation habits from day 1. It is much easier to build good habits from the start. It is very difficult to fix bad habits later. So for absolute beginners, the winner is traditional study. but shadowing should join the team very, very soon. Now, what about pronunciation and accent? The goal is not just to be understood. The goal is to sound clear and natural. The traditional way is academic about pronunciation. It gives you diagrams of your mouth. This is interesting information, but it is not very practical. It is like learning to swim by reading a book about water. It does not work very well. Shadowing, on the other hand, is a direct physical workout for your mouth. By copying a native speaker in real time, you are learning the entire musical system of the language. The rhythm, the melody, the intonation, all the things that make up an accent. The research on this is very clear. Shadowing leads to huge, measurable improvements in pronunciation. So for pronunciation, the winner is shadowing by a knockout. What about speaking fluency? Fluency is not about how many words you know. It is about how smoothly you can use them. It is about speaking at a natural speed without stopping to think all the time. Traditional study can actually build hesitation. It encourages you to stop and think about grammar rules. This is the enemy of fluency. It values accuracy more than flow. This is a recipe for slow, robotic speech. Shadowing is made for fluency. The whole point is to make speaking automatic by forcing your brain to process and produce at the same time. You are training the exact brain pathways for spontaneous speech. You start to learn grammar naturally without thinking about the rules. You just feel what is right. So for speaking fluency, the winner is shadowing by a landslide. But what about building a foundation? What about grammar and vocabulary? Here, the architect, the school way, gets its revenge. The goal is to build a large vocabulary and to understand grammar rules clearly. Shadowing is not a good way to learn brand new words. It is not good for learning complex grammar rules from the beginning. Shadowing is a technique for using the knowledge you already have. It is not for getting the knowledge in the first place. This is where traditional study is the best. Textbooks, grammar drills, and flashcard apps are very efficient. They are very good for building your vocabulary and for giving you a clear, explicit knowledge of grammar. You need a solid, accurate foundation, and this is the best way to build it. You cannot shadow a sentence if you do not know what the words mean. So for building your foundation, the winner is traditional study, decisively. And finally, let's talk about confidence. The confidence game. This is all about how you feel. Which method makes you feel like a speaker? Traditional study, with its constant focus on being correct, can often crush your confidence. Learners become terrified of making mistakes, so they just do not speak at all. They become silent perfectionists, trapped by their fear. Shadowing is a confidence-building machine. It is a safe space, a private gym for your mouth. You can practice the physical act of speaking for hours with no fear. Every session makes you more comfortable with the sound of English. The sound of English coming from your own mouth. It proves to you that you can make the sounds. This feeling changes everything. It makes you brave. It makes you willing to try real conversations. So for confidence, the winner is shadowing. So what is the final verdict? Shadowing was the winner for pronunciation, fluency, and confidence. Traditional study was the winner for your foundation of grammar and vocabulary. So who was the real winner? Here's the secret. The big secret that so many learners miss. This was never a fight. It was a demonstration of a partnership. Choosing between shadowing and traditional study is a false choice. It is the wrong question. It is like asking if a car needs an engine or if it needs wheels. The question is silly. A car needs both. You need an engine and you need wheels. They are not enemies. They are partners. Traditional study, the architect, builds your library of words. It gives you your grammar blueprint. It gives you the what. It is your engine. Shadowing, the trainer, takes those materials and teaches you how to use them. It turns your knowledge into a skill. It gives you the how. It is your wheels. The huge catastrophic mistake that 99% of language learners make is spending 100% of their time on traditional study. They spend years and years building a bigger and bigger library, a bigger engine, and then they wonder why they cannot speak. They wonder why their car will not move. It is because they are all architect and no trainer. They have an engine, but they have no wheels. The path to real fluency is to stop choosing and start combining. Start building a partnership. So where does that leave us today? We have seen that the architect, the school way, builds our foundation of knowledge. And the trainer, the shadowing way, turns that knowledge into the real-world skill of fluent speech. The conclusion is clear. Fluency is the child of this powerful partnership. You have to stop thinking of language learning as just studying. Studying is only half of the picture. You need to start thinking of it as training. Here's what a balanced, good week of learning could look like. Spend about 30% of your time with the architect. The school way. Use your apps. Read a chapter in your grammar book. Do some written exercises. Learn new words. Build your library. Build your engine. But then you must dedicate the other 70% of your time to the trainer, to the practice way. Shadow every single day, even if it is just for 15 minutes. Every day is better than one long session per week. Shadow beginner conversations. Shadow this podcast. Shadow your favorite YouTuber. Record your own voice and listen back. Feel the language in your mouth. This is not homework. This is your workout. This is your training session. This is where you get fluent. Use traditional study to gather your ingredients. Use shadowing to learn how to cook. That is the formula. That is how you finally break through the wall you have been stuck behind for so long. The freeze, the mental block, the sad feeling, it all comes from having a lot of knowledge with no skill to use it. By bringing these two methods together, you create a complete system, a beautiful circle. More knowledge helps you shadow better, and better shadowing makes you want to learn more knowledge. They feed each other. Please remember this, my friend. Learning a language is a journey. It is not a race. Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. You are doing a wonderful job just by being here today. by learning, by trying. Keep going. You are on the right path. Now, I would love to hear from you. What has your experience been? Are you feeling stuck in the traditional study trap? Have you ever tried shadowing? What is your single biggest struggle with speaking English? Please drop your story and your questions in the comments below. I read every single one. Your story can help another learner feel less alone. We are all in this together. And if you enjoyed our time today, if you feel a little more hopeful, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. We release practical, warm, and friendly guides just like this one every single week. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and your energy today. It was an honor to share this space with you. Now go get your training in. See you next time, my friend.